الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. So in our last meeting we discussed um the last meeting we discussed about the ghusl, ne? What is when is it sunnah to make ghusl, when or it's according to some aqwal it is mustahab to make ghusl, etc. So we discussed that in detail. Everything's okay then, eh? Check that when is it mustahab to make ghusl, etc. Right? Okay, okay. Exactly right. So we discussed that. Um, and then the some texts suggest that it is wajib to make ghusl on a Jummah. We discussed that that was in the early stages of Islam when the masajid was small and Sahaba Ikram would engage in physical labor, etc. And then also the musnoon or the mustahab times to bath, like on our day of Arafah, Ihram, etc. Okay, we can proceed from there, inshallah. Read the next text. Right. So the next hadith, or rather the next text here, it speaks about the instance where ghusl does not become wajib. So we did make reference to this earlier, that there are several types of liquid that comes out from both the male and the female organ. Not maybe the front organ, not maybe so much from the female organ, but more from the male organ, right? So it's not all type of liquids um, necessitate ghusl. So there's some explanation here with regards to the different type of liquids. So they say وليس في المذي والودي غسل وفيهما الوضوء, but in them is wudu. So remember we discussed this in the beginning. كل ما خرج من السبيلين, everything that comes out from the back organ, no matter what it is, right? It will always it will nullify the wudu. So
به لغير الله فمن ترجى
just muted, someone's coming through. Yeah. So what we're saying here is that any type of liquid that comes out, that's a given. Any liquid that comes from the front organ or the back organ, definitely it will nullify the wudu, right? But certain types of liquid, it will necessitate the ghusl. And we said that was money, and it must come out with shahwa and dafaka, according to Imam Sab, according to Imam Yusuf. As long as it comes out with shahwa and dafaka from the back, it's fine. So here today we're going to discuss certain type of liquids which does not necessitate. So see there, لقول السلام كل فحل يمضي. And Nabi Sallallahu said that if fahl means like a man, you can say also fahl means like a stud, like a young, strong, normal, healthy man who still got shahwa in him, not an old, cold man. So كل فحل يمضي. So يمضي, this is called madhi. وفي الوضوء, and Nabi Sallallahu said that in it is wudu, right? Now they're saying والودي الغليظ من البول يتأقب الرقيق منه خروجا فيكون مؤتبرا به. What is wadi? Wadi is the thick liquid, right? الغليظ from the urine. يتأقبه الرقيق, that the thin one comes after it, منه from the person, خروجا, it comes out, فيكون مؤتبرا فيكون يقال مؤتبرا ومؤتبرا فيكون مؤتبرا به, and this is what will be considered. So what I'm saying is maybe before, right? Yeah. So they're saying that after the sin, when a person goes to urinate, after the normal sin urine comes out, there's something thick that comes out. So basically, in simple words, this comes after your regular urine out. You understood it? Al-wadiyu al-ghalizu min al-bawl. It is the thick thing from the urine. Yata'aqqabu al-raqiqu. Right? That the thin one You got raqiqah. That's why I was puzzling there. Jazakallah. So that's Jazakallah. That was puzzling. So if you see, I got a mistake here, you must tell me. So it is the thick one. Yata'aqabu raqiqah. It comes after the thin one. So after you pass water, after it, when you finish, there's something that thick comes out. Normally, this it comes out normally when you sometimes maybe you're a bit sick or sometimes maybe you picked up something heavy or something like that, right? Right? So فيكون معتبرا به, it will be considered, that is, you'll consider the wadi bihi with the urine. That is, it will have, because it comes after the urine, it will have the same law as the urine. Is it clear now? Right. So then, so this is when say after maybe as you get older, or maybe you pick up something heavy, or sometimes maybe you have an injury or something. So after you pass urine, then this comes out. والودي الغليظ, والودي is a thick one من البول, from the urine. يتعقب الرقيق, it comes after the thin one. منه خروجا فيكون معتبرا به. So what I'm saying very well, because it comes after the urine, it has the same hukum of the urine, right? And we're saying here there's no ghusl. So after urine, you got something thick that comes out. It is not like the norm. So this will apply to the ladies also. If maybe after they pass water, pass urine, you got something thick that's coming out, right? Like not normal urine. So they also no ghusl, just the normal law of a najasat. If it is lesser than a coin, whatever, then you have to, it's necessary to wash it. So you must wash it. You make istinja, it will break your wudu, right? Nullify the wudu. والمني خاصر أبيض ينكسر منه الذكر. So the actual money, the actual sperm, the one which makes ghusl wajib, right? What is that? Right? خاصر, it is, it's from khasira yaksaru, something which is more thicker. What is it? Thicker. And it is white in color. And yankasiru minhu dhakaru, that the private organ becomes weak after that. Or it becomes, how can you say, in Africa, pap, what you say in English, it becomes, what you say in English? Lame, right? So what he's saying, in simple words, he's saying that uh, normally a person is excited, right? And as a result of the emergence of money, normally your excitement is finished. That means you are now satisfied. So that is the money. So until a person is not satisfied, until his private organ does not become lame, then that will not be the money. Are you with me? So although here in the Kitab it speaks about the zakar, that a person's shahwa, his desires fulfilled, then we'll say now that that is money. The exact same thing will apply to a woman also, that if maybe she was excited, she saw something, or maybe she done something, or she stimulated herself like a man, whatever, and as a result of that, a thick liquid came out, and post the emergence of the liquid, she felt satisfied now. In other words, so to say, she had inzal, or she climaxed, whatever, then the liquid that emerges at that time, after which she's satisfied. Although the word here is yankasiru minhu zakaru, which translates like this, that the private organ of the man breaks after that. That doesn't mean break, obviously. What it means is it gets lame, it gets weak. So that means it's a sign now that the shahwa has been fulfilled. And since the shahwa has been fulfilled, that shows that the money came out. So this is the one that necessitates what? This is what necessitates ghusl, whether a person was awake, or whether a person was asleep, or whether a person stimulated himself, or maybe he looked at some material and stimulate him, or maybe a person was thinking about something. But if this happened, then when this thick one, and in the other kutubul fiqh also, not mentioned here, but you might remember from Kuduri, it says, lahu ra'ihatun karihatun. Can you remember? Kariha means dislike. It normally has, the sperm itself has a bad smell. It has a unpleasant smell, right? So two things we done so far: the one that comes after urine, and the one that comes after being satisfied. Then wal madhiyu raqiqun. Then madhi is also a thin one, right? يضرب إلى البياض. يضرب ضرب يضرب. It is close to whiteness. يخرج منه عند ملابعة الرجل أهله. It comes out from him, from a man, when he is playing with his wife. So what I mean here is that when a person is excited, right? In English, you can call it precoital fluid. Precoital fluid. So sometimes maybe a person was thinking about something, a person was reading something, a person looked at something, and as a result of that, a person got excited. So normally, this is like a clear, odorless, sticky. It's clear, odorless, and sticky liquid. And so this one here, it will not require a ghusl. It will not, all it will do is, it is like a normal najasat. You have to wash it. If it comes on your body, whatever, if it's lesser than a 15-cent coin, it's mouth, all 15-cent coin, or the inside of it is mouth. But if it's more than that, it is wajib to wash it. You must wash it out. You must make istinja, and you must make wudu again. Right? So this is when a person, so to say, excited. When a person is excited, and I think the simple way to differentiate between this, which we say precoital fluid and sperm. That's the English word. And the Arabic word from the kitab um, is madhi and mani. Madhi and mani. The difference here is that after madhi, you are not satisfied. You are still excited. And after mani, that is when you are lame, you are puffed, or you have been satisfied. And I told you for a woman, the exact same thing. If a woman experiences, and her after that, she's satisfied. She felt like she climaxed. Then also, that's also najis, and also ghusl will become wajib. Right? وَالتَّفْسِيرُ مَعْثُورَةٌ عَنْ عَيْشَةَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ تَعَالَى. This explanation that we gave you here, it is proven from Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala. She furnished and she gave this explanation. Right? So remember when ulama speak about the wisdom of why Nabi Sallallahu mentioned marry such a young girl, this is also one of the wisdoms, is that she could remember all the intricate masail. Uh, she could remember all the intricate masail, etc., etc. Right. Okay, so that, alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah Ta'ala, brings us to the end of that chapter. Right. Um, Now we'll move to the next chapter. So we discuss those things which necessary and makes necessary wudu, and then we discuss those things which make necessary ghusl. And now the next thing we discuss is now, obviously, you've understood when ghusl becomes necessary. You've understood when wudu became necessary. Now, what do you use to remove the hadath akbar? What do you use to remove the hadath asghar? Hence, you can read the heading of the next bab. Right. Babul ma'i alladhi yajuzu bil wudu wa ma la yajuzu bihi. The chapter on the waters, the one which wudu is permissible with it and what water is not permissible. Although they mention here only wudu, but it means like also for ghusl, right? So like I told you that first we spoke about Hadath Asghar, now we spoke about the Hadath Akbar. Now you understood, you learned now when you need to make wudu, you learned now when you need to make ghusl. So now the next thing is what? What do you use? What can you use? What are you able to use? Okay, read Bismillah. Okay. Right. So the first thing, Bismillah. الطهارة من الأحداث جائزة بماء السماء والأودية والعيون والآبار والبحار. Taharat is permissible from hadath. And here, obviously, we speak about both types of hadath. We speak about the hadath of akbar, which is where you need a faras ghusl, and hadath asghar, where you just have to make wudu from the emergence of najasat. Ja'izatun is permissible. Bima is samai, with the water of the skies, the water that comes from the sky, rainwater. Wal awdiyati, water that comes from the valleys, rivers. Wal uyuni, from the springs. Wal abari, from the wells, Jama bi'run. Wal bihari, from the oceans. So if you look at this here, obviously, in previous times, they weren't like how we have reservoirs where water get, captured in the dam. Then from there it goes to the reservoir. From the reservoir it get purified, then get pumped to our homes, right? So here, people had to use water in that natural occurring forms. Now, if you ponder on this, you see what this text is saying here is this, that water that occurs naturally, you can use that until it is not contaminated. That's what he's saying. And here, as I said, in previous time, there were reservoirs, etc., etc. So either you'd get the water from rainwater, you'd harvest, you'd catch it, or you'd harvest some water from the valleys, the rivers, or you'd harvest some water from springs, or you'd harvest some water from wells, or from the ocean. So in simple, what is how the commonality between all of this is water that has been it occurs naturally. You can use it no matter what water it is, as long as it's natural and it hasn't been contaminated. So, how does our water fit in here, like how we get from a reservoir? It falls under, you can say, water that comes from the valley because that water comes from the dam, right? Then it goes to a reservoir, right? And from the reservoir, it gets purified, right? And then comes to our house. So, that is also water, a natural occurring water that just gets pumped to our house. So, it is as the hadith say, it is a natural occurring water that has not been adulterated. Right, carry on. Then there is also now a proof to say, right. So the next verse shows you that look, when the water occurs naturally and it is not adulterated, it is not corrupted, then it is pure because its natural intrinsic sifat that when Allah Ta'ala creates it, it has the ability to purify. Why? That's the natural. So it doesn't like how you say default ruling. You know, something has a default ruling. Unlike when you buy your phone, it has settings which come from the factory. It's a default, the normal natural settings. Until you change it, you customize it. Now you put your ringtone, you put your screensaver, you put your screen grabber, whatever. So you change it. But until you don't change it in its original form, there's a default ruling. So this next verse is showing us that water is whether it comes from the sky, whether it comes from the ocean, whether it comes from the valleys, no matter where it comes from, the natural or rather the default ruling is it is pure until it is contaminated by something else. See, look there. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً طَهُورًا, that we send the water from the skies in this condition that is tahuran. It is a purification, right? So that's a proof from the Quran that all natural water that occurs naturally, that is found naturally, it is pure until we do not have a proof to show that it's been adulterated. And that comes to my mind, you know, the hadith, كل مولود يولد بالفطرة فأبواه يهودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. That every child is born with the natural innate fitrat of Tawheed until their parents corrupt them, teach them to be a Jew, teach them to be a Christian, teach them to be a Buddhist, teach them to be a Hindu, etc., etc. So same thing, water, natural occurring water from the skies, from the oceans, from the valleys, from the wells, from the dams that come to us, its natural qualities, it is pure until we don't have a proof to say that it is najis, right? So that's from the Quran. Then also from a hadith, وَقَوْلُ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ الْمَاءُ طَهُورٌ, that water is natural default qualities, it is pure, right? لَا يُنَجِّسُهُ شَيْءٌ, nothing makes it najis إلا ما غير لونه أو طعمه أو ريحه, except that which changes its color, its taste, or its smell. Now this hadith here is making reference to Ma'a Kathir. We'll do this as we go through. So if you got Ma'a Qalil, little water, then even if a drop of urine falls, it becomes najis. Whether you can smell it, whether you can taste it, doesn't matter, it's najis. But this here refers to Ma'a Kathir. We'll do all the details at a later stage, but just understand this here. If you have a large mass of water and some najasat falls in it, it will not render it najis. It will still be pak, it will still be clean. Yes, if the smell changes, that whole large mass of water, when you smell it, it smells like urine, or maybe it smells like sperm, or alcohol maybe went in there. it smells like alcohol. The whole pool, like maybe they had a big party, so everyone urinated in. So the whole pool smells like urine. The whole mass of water, it smells like urine. Or if it tastes like urine, right? Or right? Its color turns, the whole pool turns yellow, then it will become najis. But just I need to qualify with you. This refer to my kathir. That my kathir before, and we'll do the definition, it will only be considered najis when one of the three things changes. If any of these three things changes, my kathir will not be considered najis. So you got a big pool, a pool is najis. Somebody urinated in there, somebody defecated in there, somebody spermified the water, or somebody threw a bottle of beer in there until the whole mass of water, because look, that will dissipate, it will dissolve until the whole color of the pool doesn't change into the color of beer, or until the whole pool doesn't look like it's turned into urine, until you, then it will be pure, it will be clean, right? That's when the large mass of water, right? So anyway, that was not the main point here, but the main point here, that was, by the way, I explained that so you must understand. The main part here is al-ma'u tahurun, that I'm to show you that the default water of ruling is that water is pure until you have a proof to say this become najis, right? Right. What another proof to say natural occurring water is pure until you don't have a proof to say it's najis. وقوله عليه السلام في البحر. Once Sahaba Ikram, they asked Nabi, you know, sometimes we travel in the ocean and then we don't have our drinking water gets finished or we can't, so can we use the water of the ocean? So Nabi said, right? وقوله السلام في البحر هو الطهور, that the water of the ocean is a means of purification. Because why? It is a natural water that hasn't been adulterated. وَالْحِلُّ مَيْتَتُهُ, and its dead is halal. This is a masa we'll do it in detail, but there is like fish when it dies in the ocean. There's a different masa with samak tafi, but we'll discuss it tonight. That you find a dead fish floating on the ocean, you can't eat it. But the fish which dies in the ocean, it doesn't have to be slaughtered, etc. So that is permissible for you to eat the fish that dies in the ocean, right? So, but that's a separate issue. But the main thing is to show you here that the water that occurs naturally in the ocean, it is pure, right? So, wa mutlaqul ismi yutlaqu ala hadhal ayah. So what is saying? You see, Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, wa anzalna minas sama'i ma'an tahura. We send from the skies water, which is a means of purification. So, what is saying in this ibarat, that water that comes from the rivers, the valleys, comes from everywhere. All of that falls under the ambit of this year. وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً. Ma'a refer to all of these things. All of these things that in a natural state, they are pure. So you understand? وَمُطْلَقُ الْإِسْمِ, the general name of water. Allah never say we send from the skies waters of the valley, waters of the ocean, waters of the rivers, waters of the springs, whatever. Allah Ta'ala said, just we send the water, right? The water. So that water, it includes all of these waters, which means all of these waters are pure and you can use them for your taharat, right? But mutlaq ismi mutlaqu ala hadhi al-miyahi, miyah is jama of ma, so all of these will be considered pure. So we stop there, inshallah. So basically the crux of this lesson here, what we're doing is that water naturally occurring, it is pure, you can use it, and until it does not become najis. And if it's ma'a kathir, it will only be considered najis when either the smell, the color, or the taste change. Right? That's the crux of this lesson. The other lesson I gave you the crux of it. Right? The two other the liquids will necessitate wudu. Only the one which has a strong smell and where a person becomes satisfied, that is the one that necessitates